Welcome to Financial Issues, where we help you steward faithfully by honoring God with your investments. Now listen in as we give you the practical tools and advice you need to become a biblically responsible investor.
This is Financial Issues, where we help you defund darkness and fund the light by investing with biblical integrity. Welcome to the show, everyone. Seth Udinsky, Sam Case, and your host, Mark Manila, this Tuesday morning. Mark, good morning, brother. Great to be here.
Good morning. It is. It's a great day, and I'm glad to be here and glad you're all joining us.
Absolutely. We certainly are. Folks, we'd love to hear from you. Listen, the Financial Issues audience has a tendency to not call into our live radio show until the end of the show, the last segment. So break that trend today, folks, and call in the first segment. The number to call is 610-363-1110. We would love to hear from you and answer your question and get to help you out. Join the conversation, 610-363-1110. We appreciate our audience no matter when they call into our show, but we'd love it if you called in early. So get into the queue right now, folks. Today's show, guys, is going to be a great time. We've got good news for taxpayers. Mark will hear our final lesson of the updates from the big, beautiful bill. I'm looking forward to this, as well as a rather juicy one, Mark. It's going to be good. Also, we had a great start for our Heartbeat Heroes for Preborn. We'll talk a little bit more about that and some other things as well on the show. But first and foremost, guys, it seems like the Trump administration is feeling pretty optimistic about the economy in 2026, and they have good reason to, for the most part. Sam, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said some things about this. Give us the details.
Scotty Boy Bessent, he's feeling pretty good about the economy this year. Very optimistic, in fact, about the economy. Despite some recent volatility we were seeing last week, he appeared on Fox News saying that the market is signaling what he believes is going to be a strong 2026. Here's what he had to say.
What we are seeing, the cyclical components of the market expand. So that's why the Dow hit a new high, but importantly, the Russell, which is the small cap index, has hit a new high. We're seeing the industrial sectors under the market hit new highs. And in my 35, 40 years on Wall Street, that tells me Wall Street is telling you that Main Street is about to prosper. We are seeing a big cyclical recovery. The president's agenda set the table in 2025, and now the American people are going to benefit in 26, and that's what the stock market is telling us.
So, Mark, I want to get your reaction to this clip. Do you share Bessent's optimism here? I'm also wondering, what does he mean by a quote, big cyclical recovery?
Well, I do share Bessent's optimism. It just is... It's what we've been saying. Some of the op-eds that we put out recently or in the last month or so, actually at the beginning of the year, especially where everybody was dissing the economy and trying to find certain time frames and certain people to say the right things to make it look like everything was ugly. And we just presented the basic facts on it, and the economy was doing so much better than anybody had expected, and so much better than it was in the last administration across the board. So, I share his optimism. I do think that using the stock market as a barometer for what's coming on Main Street, saying what Wall Street leads the way and then Main Street follows, I don't think that's always true.
I was wondering about that. Is there a relationship there?
Well, there can be one found if you want to. Just like any data, you can extract out of it what it means to you and based on your perspective. I don't think he's wrong. Don't take it that way. We have seen that happen before, but I really believe the economy leads and the markets are two separate things. Sometimes the economy can be in the dumps and the market will continue to rise. That doesn't mean the economy is going to turn around within a certain amount of days or weeks or whatever, because the market keeps rising during a bad economy. And the opposite is true too. So sometimes there are correlations, sometimes they're not, at least in my life view and what I've seen and what I've studied over time, despite the whatever school of economics you buy into. So I don't think that's absolutely true, but what we are seeing are the economic numbers, even the ones that the government puts out, despite their hate for Trump and despite their desire, still there's way too many entrenched anti-American people that are putting these numbers together, doing these surveys and stuff.
And government incompetence,
Yeah, and government incompetence in general, right. So, but even with that, it's still, we're seeing strength there. And we're seeing strength so much faster than we ever have or ever expected we would. I really thought, well, he only has 4 years coming in, and I don't know if he'll get this infrastructure, if he'll be able to drain the swamp enough or get the infrastructure put in place for the proper growth. And in 1 year, he's done more than most people believe would happen in 4 years. He's already at that point. And so what he could do over the next 4 years, I think there is optimism. I think most of these surveys are leaned to the left purposely. The questions are worded to lean it to the left purposely. I mean, if you ask somebody, do you feel like you're rich? Nope. Okay, so 99% of Americans say they're poor. What? No, they just said they weren't rich. Well, if you're not rich, you're poor, right? So, I mean, that's the way they're phrasing everything, especially in this election year and the things going on there. So, yeah, I do agree with them. I think it's really interesting. I think that when you really look at the numbers, and I think individuals know it too. I just love it when people keep, the survey, especially on inflation. Do you think inflation is going to go up or down? I mean, when you ask a question like that, what are you going to answer? Do you think taxes are going to go up or down? You're always going to say, yeah, it's going to get worse that way. Right. But that eventually it will. Inflation will continue to rise, not the inflation rate.
Do you think you're going to get older or younger?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Do you think time's going to go forward or backwards? So, yeah, these are the way questions are asked. So we have to worry about that kind of stuff in the reporting this year. In fact, what I think we need to do is turn the noise off. We need to stop listening to the talking heads as soon as you hear them trying to say, in the last 2 years, 3 months, and 27 days, we've seen this happen negatively to the economy. Why did they take that time frame? Because one more day either way, and they couldn't have got that number that they wanted. That's the kind of stuff that's going on right now.
Or the chart just looks infinitely better when you expand it by an additional year.
In the stock market, if you took a chart and you just took the parts that you liked and you showed them to your clients on your portfolio, it's like, look at this, during, from January 15th through March 23rd, we had a 30% return, and not show them, if you would have hung on to it 3 more days, it would have been a negative 5%. You would go to jail for that. You'd be fined. It would be terrible. But economists can play those games, and journalists can take what the economists play with and manipulate it. There's that old saying, I forget who said it, there's lies, there's damn lies, and then there's statistics.
I also like the phrase, all statistics are lies, but some statistics are useful.
That's good, Sam.
Well, awesome. Yeah, I did hear that one, and I think that at least 65% of 30% of the people agree with that.
Yeah, right. There you go. 610-363-1110. Guys, interesting conversation here. And let us know, folks, listen, if you share in this optimism. Mark, my question for you with this is, how do we, and by we, I really mean this administration, how does this administration continue this beyond 2028? That's what I'm always coming back to, Mark, is I'm loving what Trump is doing, but I don't want it to just seesaw for 4 years and then we get, God forbid, a Gavin Newsom or someone else like that in the office in 2029, and now everything's back to the way it was under Biden. How do we sustain this?
Yeah. This is part of that citizenship stewardship that I'm talking about. God has given us a country that was established to honor God. Bottom line, it was established by Christians. There's no doubt about that. People can pretend to argue about it, but when you look into it, they believed in God. They believed in Jesus Christ. The majority of them were solid Christians, and they developed a country to do that. We've been given this to steward. Part of that stewardship means stepping up for those participating, at the very least, voting, and only voting for those people and those things that are in alignment with biblical principles, to be involved, to encourage others to step up to run as well as yourself. Is it possible? You know, some of the best politicians, some of the best leaders of our country weren't politicians to begin with. So, and many of the best leaders I've ever met weren't seeking power or leadership. They just wanted to do what was right in the eyes of God. We need godly people there. You need to be involved. You need to be stewarding this nation, be voting, be contacting as many people as possible about every issue. Let your voice be heard. That is part of being a steward.
Good stuff, Mark. Mark, we'll come back and touch on that because there's something I wanted to add to that. In the history of our ministry, we had a lot of people, calling for whoever the host was, whether it was Dan or you, to get into politics. And I have some thoughts coming out on the other side of this break that I'll share with you all. But folks, hope that you'll join us.
Yeah, I'd like to hear those thoughts. 610-363-1110. Let's hear your thoughts on it.
Every day, kids all across America are coming to school with some kind of hidden pain.
I've seen kids come in who are just so confused about what's right and what's wrong, just having no idea that God loves them. And this just breaks my heart. Crossroads has the opportunity to bring the Word of God right into the public school, to reach children right where they are.
And when we see that happen, we see God changing lives.
We want to see kids not only come to Christ, but pursue a lifelong relationship with Him. And so local churches are uniquely positioned to disciple those children as they become young adults and through their lifespan.
Crossroads comes alongside a church and provides that church with a club structure, curriculum, training, and ongoing coaching for them to run these outreaches in public schools.
If you are burdened for the children of America, consider making a donation to Crossroads Kids Club. For more information, visit reachOurschools.com. That's reachOurschools.com.
Investing is about so much more than money. It's a way we can provide a better future for our loved ones and make a greater impact for the things that matter most to us. Good stewardship is investing in things that last for eternity and not things that go against biblical values. For over 25 years, Financial Issues has provided partners with the tools they need to build a portfolio that honors God and blesses others. Become a partner with Financial Issues today to see how you can steward your resources in a God-honoring way.
This Valentine's season, we invite you to join Financial Issues and Preborn in a mission to save babies and transform lives. Your donation of $120 can make an extraordinary difference. This amount represents the average number of times an unborn baby's heart beats in a single minute. To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby, or go to financialissues.org and click on the Preborn banner.
Folks, it's 610-363-1110. All right, Mark and Sam, let me share with you my thoughts when it comes to talking about getting involved with your civic duty. And no, I'm not announcing my candidacy for any sort of office.
Come on. I'd vote. Hey, all you in chat, would you vote for Seth if he ran? Come on.
Seth, you could make a good dog catcher or something.
Thank you,
right?
Sam. I appreciate
like
that.
dogs?
I appreciate that. Dog catcher.
Oh my gosh.
Here's what I was going to say, Mark, and it's related to what you had said there, because we had a lot of people back in the old days of the ministry. They would ask our former host and founder, Dan Celia, Dan, why don't you run for politics? You know, you should get into that. And Dan would always say, I could never do it. I agree with him. I think he's too honest to do it. But I will say this, Mark, I think that there are several folks in our audience who could enter some kind of political office and probably should. And I want to challenge them, if they're out there, to consider possibly getting involved in maybe more than just I'm going to cast my vote type of way, but actually getting involved in, I might consider running for public office, even just locally, because that's where it starts, Mark. And so if you're someone out there who loves Christ and you want to make a difference, why not try? Why not try going out there and seeing, hey, you know what? I'm going to look into, okay, what would it take to get on my local school board? What would it take to get on my local township board?
And think about that. A lot of people didn't think about the school board, but the school board's the one who led our schools down the drain and to the left.
Exactly.
If we would have had godly men and women on the school boards, we would have raised up a bunch of children who had been voting properly and voting for godly, moral things instead of self-serving, anti-American leaders. So, no, I like it. I agree with you.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's more than one person out there who's hearing this right now, and maybe you had the check in your spirit to say, hey, you know what, I probably should get involved. I'll say this, Mark. After Charlie Kirk's assassination, I had that check in my spirit where I was thinking, yeah, you know what, we make a great impact on financial issues, and that's awesome. But I wonder if I should try to get on my local school board, or if I should try to get on my local township board, and if I should try to, influence the culture around me for good. Mark, you may know this actually, but our town, the one of the towns that's closest to where our studio is, elected the first ever transgender mayor in the state's history. We have got to put a stop to this stuff. We have to.
Amen.
And it starts at that grassroots level. It really does. That's the end of my rant. Just wanted to share that.
And even if you don't run, come alongside. Remember, think about the Old Testament and the battles. And the battles were fought by brave men and strong men, but somebody had to help the leader hold his arms up.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah. Anyway, Mark, good stuff. Yeah, 610-363-1110. Folks, if you're convicted by that, or if you disagree, if you're like, no way, I'm not running, give us a call. We'd love to hear about it.
I'm not saying everybody should run. Everybody shouldn't run. But you should come alongside those do. You should support them physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, so that we get good people in the government and they know the direction and they know they're going to be held accountable. Bottom line.
Well said, Mark. Well said. Well, guys, why don't we switch gears here and close the book, as it were, on our crash course for the new tax laws of the big, beautiful bill, the good news for taxpayers. Mark, I've been loving this good news here, and just some kind of final things to wrap up here. Well, what do we need to know regarding these new laws about the big, beautiful bill?
Well, one of the things I really like about what we're seeing in this is the things like the new tax bans, the income levels and the all the different stuff that changed we talked about earlier. Those are going to be adjusted for inflation. So effectively, every year they don't have to relook at this and say, oh, you know what? The income bands are falling behind. You go into the next tax bracket just because you got a raise at work. No, you got a raise at work, plus they're adjusted for inflation, so you're not going to be paying higher taxes on it. Another thing that helps the average American do better. Not the high net worth, or not the, it's not made for high net worth, but for everybody. I love that. And to put it on autopilot in that sense is a good thing. It keeps from bracket creep happening. It helps protect real income. I love that. And I also like that what they're doing is they're updating how things are reported and the compliance alignment of all these rules. That means that things like W-2s, 1099s, employer reporting systems. Yeah, I know we don't like Big Brother, but it makes it easier to do the right thing, which means there's less IRS agents knocking on your door wanting to audit you because they need a piece of paper that they didn't get. Well, they're going to be getting it electronically. And quite frankly, I think in an age where we're the leading nation in technology, we should have systems set up to make it easy to digitally do all this. Well, Musk came in along with Trump, to help Trump. He set up the DOJ committee to go in and find all the ugliness, but they're also setting up digital accounting systems, and instead of storing stuff on paper in file cabinets and losing it and that kind of stuff.
They're actually stored in caves, aren't they?
That's right, in caves. Yeah. So they're updating things to make it easier for you to comply and not get audited because they lost a piece of paper you sent in, or because you lost a piece of paper. So that's really nice. I love that as well. And finally, there's one last thing, and this isn't really a tax law, but it affects taxes in a sense, but it also affects the future, and that's the new Trump accounts. I really like the idea of the Trump account, the idea that we have an account, which is pretty much just an IRA for kids.
Yep.
Any
regular
newborn, right? A regular IRA. So money can go into it up to $5,000 a year. It could be gifted into it from anybody, and every year $5,000 could go into it, and it'll grow tax deferred, and then it becomes a traditional IRA when they turn 18. So effectively, you're building a future for your children, your babies, as they grow older, and when they get to an age of maturity. What happens is they now have the responsibility over it, which I wish it was 25 or 30 actually, but it's going to be 18, which I understand. That's respectful. But that'll help our society to dig themselves out. So even if you were born into poverty, you have the opportunity to grow into the middle income class and to prepare for retirement, a safer retirement by doing this. You could be a millionaire just by the contributions that go in and the growth on that. So a lot of good things.
A stake in the economy itself, so they don't feel like they're alienated from what's going on in the market.
And if your parents care enough about you when you're born between 2025 and 2020, what is it, 2028?
2028, yep. And
the government's going to put $1,000 in it right off the bat.
Got to be born under the star sign of Donald Trump to be blessed with $1,000.
You know, it's tough for my 3 children because the 2 older ones, they don't get that seed money, but my youngest is going to be a rich man.
Truly blessed.
He's got that $1,000 kickstart that they didn't get. Pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's going to be easy to set up. There's something on your income taxes that says you're going to elect to do that for your children. I believe that it's even on the income tax. So, and this all starts in July. So it's something good. Here's this part I don't like. Right now, the investment has to go into what is called an index fund, SPY, the S&P 500. Well, the S&P 500 has a whole lot of stocks in it that are involved in abortion, pornography, gambling, alcohol, and other addictive products and things like that. Things that true believers, strong believers, solid Christians would not partner with, because when you buy a stock, you're becoming an owner, and becoming an owner means you're partnering with them in whatever they do. So true believers won't do that. That's what biblical responsible investing is all about. So effectively, at this point, the rules aren't finalized yet, but at this point, we don't have a vehicle for Christians to invest in. And so there will be many Christians, many strong Christians, who won't be participating until they can find out if we can use a clean index, something like, the Timothy Plan TPSC, small cap, or Timothy Plan mid-large cap ETF, which is effectively an index fund of clean mid and large cap. It's not an actively managed fund. It's more of an index, So until we can see if we can do that. Now, one way we can see if we can do that to make sure that it happens is for us to contact Congress, contact the administration, contact the president. I, for one, want to get together. I know everybody's tired of signing petitions and stuff like that, but this is a huge petition, people. I mean, the Trump accounts are an incredible idea for Americans, sans Christians right now. We are being left out of it. So think about that, pray about that. We're thinking about getting a petition up and pushing it through. And we want not only us to do it, but we want our friends, we want our partners, we want we want your partners to be throwing this everywhere on your social media, through your email systems once we get it up. So be praying about it. Be preparing for that. We just have to come up with the right wording to this administration to bring some awareness, consciousness to them. They're trying to do a good thing, but they didn't see this part of it. They didn't realize, like many of you didn't years ago, the concepts of biblically responsible investing and the impact on you and I as a steward, and how this might cause some people to compromise or some people not even to participate. So anyway, I think it's a great idea. It's just got to be refined so that Christians can participate as well.
Absolutely. Mark, that's a really good point that you mentioned there is, I was even earlier, I was talking, in a way that I don't want to make our listeners think that I would jump right into something like this, understanding that right now there are no BRI options.
Seth
Until
the
that
heathen.
happens, yes, exactly right. Until that happens, but that's Mark. That's exactly my point. Is we have got to be vigilant about this. And so you're exactly right. Once we get the legs under this thing, we want every single person who's listening, every partner, every monthly soldier to get behind this. And Mark, it's probably going to take more than just us. Like, we want people outside of financial issues to support this as well. So it's going to be huge.
And we can continue. If it doesn't come out in the first draft before July, we can continue the battle until we win it, until we get an option. So this is important. This is very important. We're talking about hundreds of millions, billions of dollars going to be poured into these accounts. Christians should be able to participate.
But the good news is we have an administration that is sympathetic to Christians.
Exactly.
Many Christians in the administration.
If they could hear our voice.
Yeah, if there's ever a White House that wants to hear from us, it's going to be this one.
That's right.
Yeah, so let's make our voice heard. Let's get hundreds of thousands of people to sign on to this. Be praying about it. Step one, pray about it, that we get the right language. And secondly, sign it once we get it up and pass it along, the link to it, so that you and I and everybody who loves the Lord can honor him, even with the Trump account. 610-363-1110. Give us a call. We want to hear from you. Are you hearing us? Do you have any thoughts on what we're saying here today? 610-363-1110.
In the last 10 to 15 years being in ministry, being married, something that has been constant in our lives is Samaritan Ministries. As we've moved, we've had babies, we've had different things come up, we have just been able to rely on Samaritan in ways that we never really even thought about before becoming members.
Our heart's desire is to plant roots and be in a place for a really long time. It's how we were raised. We see the benefits of that, but we also see the open-handedness of being used by the Lord wherever he calls, because we just assumed when we started pursuing church planting, the quickest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. And with the Lord, sometimes you find out it looks a lot more like this. And yet, Samaritan was with us through the entire thing.
We didn't have to look into, we have to change insurances now because we've moved states or whatever the case may be. And it's just been a real blessing to us in different phases of life.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Colleen.
We're the Gen X.
And we're Samaritan members.
Did you know that an unborn baby's heart beats at an average of 120 times every minute? That steady rhythm, that precious sound, that's the sound of life. Hi, I'm Mark Manella, host of Financial Issues. And today, I want to encourage you to give to the amazing work of Preborn. Preborn partners with local pregnancy clinics across the nation to help mothers choose life, providing free ultrasounds, counseling, and the gospel of Jesus Christ.
This Valentine's season, we invite you to join Financial Issues and Preborn in a mission to save babies and transform lives. Your donation of $120 can make an extraordinary difference. To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, baby, or go to financialissues.org. That's financialissues.org, and click on the Preborn banner.
Navigating through investment options can be challenging, especially when you're determined to uphold your God-given values. Every dollar you invest is a vote for the world that you want to live in. Let your values guide your investment decisions and help to shape the culture in which we live. Become a beacon of light and pave the way with biblically responsible investing. Timothy Plan, where faith and finance collide. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each perspective carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Hey folks, welcome back. give us a call, please. We'd love to hear from you. 610-363-1110. Wonderful to be here with you all this morning, and I hope that you're enjoying your Tuesday morning here with us. We'll be here for the next half hour. Mark, we were talking in that last segment about the importance of stewarding the next generation well through these Trump accounts, but doing it the right way. Also, we don't want to invest a single dollar in anything that would grieve God's heart. And it reminds me of another way that we're also trying to steward and bring up the next generation well, which, interestingly enough, might sound like a no-duh thing, but it's simply by saving their lives. Because there are many people in this country who are trying to murder the next generation in the womb, and we want to say, not on our watch. It's not going to happen. So that's why we're doing this campaign with Preborn, Mark.
Absolutely. Stewardship encompasses everything. I know oftentimes when people hear the term biblical stewardship, they always think about nothing but giving or financial at the very most. But stewardship is how we live out the truth of our salvation in Jesus Christ. And it means becoming more and more like Christ every day. Everything he's made us, and everything that we are to be should be moving in the direction of glorifying God. And that includes how we steward the next generation. And it starts with making sure they're born, making sure that those heartbeats continue into their voting age so they can vote properly. And we need to be great stewards over life in general. And that's what I love, that Heartbeat Hero. I love that title, Heartbeat Hero, because it talks about what we're doing. Now, you can't put a dollar on that life, but we do know that if we can put more, if we can get behind preborn, they'll bring awareness and consciousness to more women about what's inside them, that it really is a life. It's God-created life. They'll see their baby, they'll see their daughter, they'll see their son and on the ultrasound, and it doesn't cost them anything to do that. And then when they immediately fall in love, like most mothers will at that point, they'll know that they have an organization behind them to help them to move forward with helping this baby come into the world and raising that child. They'll know they have some people there to help with the baby's needs and the mom's needs, and both their spiritual needs, by making sure they understand the gospel as well. So I just love this organization. I am a Heartbeat Hero. Are you? We want you to be too.
Awesome, Mark. And the way to do that, folks, there's just such a simple way. Of course, you can pray. You can support Preborn in that way. Tell people about Preborn. Share on social media. You can also donate your dollars, putting your faith to work there at preborn.com/FISM. Again, preborn.com/FISM. Just follow the simple steps there. You can give securely there. That banner's found on our website, too. So if you just want to go to financialissues.org, click the Heartbeat Hero banner at the top of the page when you get to the home screen there. You can also call them if you dial pound 250 and say keyword baby. Again, pound 250, and the keyword is baby. And then just make sure that you tell the operator that this is for the FISM Heartbeat campaign, and they'll count that in as well. Awesome stuff, Mark. It's such a delight.
And the only reason for all that is we just want tracking. That's all.
Yeah.
We don't keep any of that money. It all goes to Preborn to help moms make the right choice.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And seeing in the chat there, our friend Ramona from Alabama had mentioned yesterday that she wanted to give through her QCD, and so she was able to figure out how to do that, which is awesome. So glad that you're able to do that, Ramona. And if you're interested in giving in a non-traditional way like that, we have resources for you on our website. Just go to the Giving tab, and you can click Alternative Ways to Give, and that should take you where you need to go. It's awesome. Good stuff, folks. Yeah. Please consider joining us for that campaign. It's such an important thing, and we want to save babies. Not on our watch are these babies going to be killed through abortion. We want for them to make it out of the womb, first of all, which is a crazy thing to even say, Mark. But then secondly, to come into a family that loves Jesus Christ and loves them, and that's what Preborn does. Pretty amazing. 610-363-1110, folks. Give us a call. Mark, the markets yesterday continued with some strength off of their big day on Friday. So by the closing bell, the Dow Jones was just above the flat line. S&P 500 up 0.5%. NASDAQ up almost a full. And the Russell 2000 was up around 0.75 of a percentage point. This morning, as I'm seeing, the major indices continuing to tick slightly higher. The S&P 500 right at the flat line, the NASDAQ right below, and the Dow Jones is building on that new record, up about 1/3 of a percentage point this morning. Mark, interesting question we got here from Dan. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So Dan is asking, hey, Mark, I see MA29, this is SETM, that's Sprott Critical Minerals ETF. We issued a sell for them recently, Mark, because of a human rights violation. He also sees, though, that MA15, MA5, and MA55 all with the Sprott name as well, but they're on the buy list. Wouldn't everything on Sprott be a sell if we sold their critical minerals ETF? And if not, why not?
And I just want to say thanks to Dan for writing in this question, because when we first issued this sell, I saw this question or ones like it quite a bit.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so this is a broad question. So here's a organization that launches ETFs. Each ETF is a separate entity in and of itself. Inside each ETF, they hold different types of things. For example, the physical gold one owns physical gold. You put money into that ETF, they buy gold. The physical silver one buys silver. Same way. So what you're seeing is they are different entities, and you're getting involved in different entities with each one. So because they have one bucket over here that has a little dirt in it, we won't participate in that bucket. But the other buckets are separate. And so we if they're clean, we're comfortable investing in them. That's the difference in why we can buy different Sprott ETFs. It's very similar to saying, why can we buy this, iShare ETF, when they have hundreds of different ETFs? A lot of them are dirty. This one isn't. Each one is incorporated separately in a way for it to be its own entity and managed differently. So you're not buying into the ugliness of the other buckets, and you're not directly buying into the organization that is managing and or overseeing the distribution of it.
Mark, that's really good. So simply put, Dan, for you, Sprott is not necessarily dirty. It's the specific ETFs in the specific ETFs themselves, namely that critical minerals one had companies in it that violated
Actually,
human
if
rights,
I remember correctly, it was just one company.
I think it was. It was one company.
And that company, we did try to write them. We haven't heard anything. So hopefully it'll clean up, because it's one, and it's a very small percentage of that portfolio. But we didn't like the direction it was going, and we didn't like the idea.
I believe it was owned by a CCP entity. They had one company in there that was owned by China.
Well, guys, this is such a good reminder for us. I hope that we can see this, of how important it is to be pure in our investments and really in our whole life. If you let one drop of poison, just imagine, for example, how foolish of a parent I would be if I gave one of my children a cup of water and says, don't worry about it. It's like 99% water. Just got one drop of engine coolant in it. You should be fine. No, I would be, that'd be criminal. It's the same idea.
It would be
here,
absolutely
right?
criminal.
Yeah, this ETF, sadly, it's just one company, but that poisoned the whole thing. So we don't want any part of it.
Absolutely.
Mark, yep. Just one clarifier. Dan had mentioned MA55. MA55 is actually not under the Sprott name. That's a separate silver ETF. Dan, just for your reference there. But you're correct. MA5 and MA15 both under that Sprott name as well. Good stuff. Mark, I'd love to get to Dennis in the call queue right now, but I wonder if maybe we should hold off on Dennis and get to him in the next segment to give him some time.
Yeah, Dennis, I hope you'll stay with us. I really want to answer your question. I love it, and I think everybody listening would want to hear it as well. We only got a couple of minutes left on this to be able to go that direction. The thing that I really like to follow up on right before we go to the break, and then Dennis, we'll get to your call after that break, is when we talk about investing, we have to realize there's different reasons why we would or would not invest in something. We talk often here about why we're investing in something, but we just had an alert today. We're selling off. There is a sell alert, so partners, you should be looking at that. There is a sell alert. Here's a good thing about it, though. You don't have to rush. It's not because of a BRI offense. It is actually because it's a merger type of thing. And they're going to be merged into a company that we have concerns about. And right now it seems positioned to get the maximum you can out of it. So we're saying you might as well just sell it and not wait for the next 3 months where it could drop or my guess is it won't go much over, if it ever goes over, what they're offering in the merger for. So we're at that level approximately right now. So why not just redeploy that money now and move on? So make sure if you're a partner, either read your email and or go to the partner hub and look for that alert and then take action on that. Redeploy that money as you see fit to reallocate into your portfolio to help with the diversification and realize that there's a lot of neat things going on in the market as it, instead of being 7 stocks now, it is spreading out over multiple segments of the economy. And you have a lot to look at to be able to redeploy that and hopefully rebalance your asset allocation with the model that you chose and or contoured to fit exactly who you are. This is the kind of things we want to bring to you continuously to help you be the best steward possible. And we're grateful that you tune in to hear about these things. And when we come back, we're going to get with Dennis and other calls. The number is 610-3610. 363-1110, 610-363-1110.
I heard about Jesus in my public school, and my life changed.
For over 25 years, God has used Crossroads Kids Club to bring the gospel right to where children are, inside public schools.
Will you help us share Jesus with kids in public schools? I want more kids to have the same chance that I had.
Would you help reach more children by making a gift to Crossroads today?
Help reach kids with the hope of the gospel. Visit reachourschools.com.
In the last 10 to 15 years being in ministry, being married, something that has been constant in our lives is Samaritan Ministries. As we've moved, we've had babies, we've had different things come up, we have just been able to rely on Samaritan in ways that we never really even thought about before becoming members.
Our heart's desire is to plant roots and be in a place for a really long time. It's how we were raised. We see the benefits of that, but we also see the open-handedness of being used by the Lord wherever He calls, because we just assumed when we started pursuing church planting, the quickest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. And with the Lord, sometimes you find out it looks a lot more like this. And yet, Samaritan was with us through the entire thing.
We didn't have to look into, we have to change insurances now because we've moved states or whatever the case may be. And it's just been a real blessing to us in different phases of life.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Colleen.
We're the Gen X.
And we're Samaritan members.
This Valentine's season, we invite you to join Financial Issues and Preborn in a mission to save babies and transform lives. Your donation of $120 can make an extraordinary difference. This amount represents the average number of times an unborn baby's heart beats in a single minute. To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby, or go to financialissues.org and click on the preborn banner.
The opinions and recommendations expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station or any of the program sponsors. Additionally, all products or services offered by the program sponsors may not be known by the program.
Be great to be here with you, folks. Join us as we save babies and become heartbeat heroes with Preborn, preborn.com/FISM. And give us a call, 610-363-1110. We got time to get to you. Mark, why don't we go to the phones now, shall we?
Let's do that. Dennis, welcome to Financial Issues. What's on your mind today?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Member, and just love the program, but I've got a question about my IRA, which I pay I send money to my church and missions and organizations that I want to find out in that IRA, should I take my money out of CDs and invest it, or should I keep it safe in CDs?
Okay, so let me clarify, because I'm not sure I heard the question clearly. The money that you had distributed from your IRAs, it's in CDs, and you're wondering whether you should keep it in CDs or move it elsewhere.
Correct.
Okay. It depends. What are you going to do with the money? If it's longer term, there's certain things you'd have to ask. First of all, what is the purpose of this money? If it's shorter term, and you're using CDs, you'd have to use short-term CDs that mature at the proper time. So the liquidity there without penalty could be an issue. If it's shorter term and you use in a money market, which is paying almost the same as short-term CDs, maybe even a little more for real short terms, I would just go into a money market that has a high interest money market as you move that money from the IRA to there and then onto the areas you feel like the Lord has asked you to bless with your stewardship there. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I just thought, well, maybe I'm not taking the Lord's money and using it as wisely as I should and invest in some stocks that would actually deliver a higher dividend. So,
yeah, I can see that, but also there's a downside to that. There's just as much a chance that when it's time to transfer that money to your church or to the ministry or whoever God has tugged at your heart to bless with His money through your stewardship, it may be it may be worth less than it is today. So, like I said, if it's short term, if you're doing the distributions, the QCDs, the qualified distributions, and you're not ready to give it away for another 5 years, then you could consider getting it invested.
Okay. Well, it's just it's monthly that I'm doing it, but I have CDs from 3 months out, 6 months out, a year out.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. And if you're getting a decent return, check what the high interest money market is, and if you can get those rates, because oftentimes, like at your bank or even some of the online ones, you have to have a minimum amount to go into those to get the higher rate. Some of them are like $250,000 or $500,000 to get the maximum rate, and then as you come down, they get lower and lower. So compare them to the CDs and just remember the liquidity with the bank ones is better than the ones online. The ones online might pay a little bit more, but it might take 2 days to a week or whatever based on their stuff to get the money. If that's no big deal, it's worth it. And then the CDs are the least liquid in the sense that you have to go through the process of liquidating the CD, and then they're going to take back some interest for early if you break the CD, that kind of thing. So you're thinking right, Dennis. I really like the way you're thinking, mostly because I love that you're giving, and I love that you're following God's desire for you to be a steward over everything, including your investment. Thank you for that.
Hey, thank you so much for your help, Mark. Appreciate it.
All righty. God bless.
Bye-bye.
God bless Dennis. Mark, that is great. Love to hear that Dennis wants to get the most out of his money, but he's also okay with the downside of that. Like you said, the downside risk. If you need that money within 5 years, it would be smart to consider something safe as possible. Obviously,
3 years, even 2 years, even.
Exactly.
Anything, 5 years is way out there. If you're going to hold it for 3 years, you could go into something very conservative. But you just. Why wait to give it if you're going to give it anyway?
Good point, Mark. 610-363-1110, folks. If you call in right now, we'll squeeze you into today's show. Don't wait till tomorrow. Call in right now. Mark, I have to alert you and Sam of something in our chat. That we have a lot of people suffering in the chat, okay? So several brothers have mentioned that they are going to act on this cell alert or have already acted on it, and that they're really suffering. They made like 600% on the sell because they held it for so long.
It's a true tragedy.
Poor people. You made so much. And then we put out an alert so you can maximize that and lock that in. And we saw the tears coming down the side of your face there. And then you realize, you know what? Either way, it's going away. They're just helping us manage it in a way that we get the most out of it.
I saw a comment said, "Oh man, I'm going to have to cut it loose." And I said, "Well, it's going to be cut loose one way or another. You're just in control right now."
Exactly. That's what it's called to be a steward, and you are God's stewards.
No, I say that tongue in cheek. I'm so grateful that you guys have been able to, hold that for a long time and do a good job and get to lock in some of those profits. And Mark, in all seriousness, it is tough to let a stock go sometimes that you've held for a long time. I'm already feeling that with some of my holdings. I have not held them nearly as long as these brothers have with some of theirs, but I feel a sense of, it really is. It's stewardship. This is my active stewardship over this company. It's a good, solid company. It's biblically responsible. It's made me money. I like it. It's hard to part with it sometimes. It really is.
It is. There's the psychology of investing. And one of the things is if you bought into a stock and maybe when you bought into it, it was a little risky and you weren't sure, but you did. And then over time, it's just performed for you. You get emotionally attached, even if you don't believe it. Somewhere in your brain, the endorphins are being released every time you look at that, and so you start having some sort of affinity with
Sam and I know
with that
like,
stock
every day.
And then when you have to sell it, it's like, well, wait a minute, this isn't. Why, I'm losing a friend here,
It's like gardening. You plant this little seed and then you see it grow into this beautiful tree or shrub and you're like, I have to cut it down now?
Letting the children fly the roost. It's, absolutely.
Yeah. It's all like that on a much smaller, but it does have that effect. I mean, it is physically and psychologically true.
But it's good to be aware of that too.
But today we are going to rejoice that God has given us direction. And I'm not being silly with this. I mean, we have no choice. It's going to go away now or in 2 to 6 months. It's going to go away, and the price is already set on the maximum you're going to get for it if you wait 2 to 6 months, and it's already there. So why sit on it? Why not maximize that? Take it, redeploy that money into something that is going to continue, hopefully will continue to rise. We're just trying to help you be the best steward you can be. Don't be sad about it. Let's celebrate God's direction. He made it clear. He's making it happen. Praise God. There's
Hard
a reason for
over
it. We know
700% returns.
That's right.
Tears of joy.
Tears of joy. Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Good
Praise
stuff,
God.
guys. Appreciate all you folks in the chat so much. And however you may be listening or watching the show, we appreciate you. Mark, here's a question from Timothy. Might be the only one we have time for in the remainder of our show.
Oh,
66 years old. I know. It goes by so fast. Timothy says, hey, Mark, is there any ETF or a biblically responsible stock for the mining for high purity quartz in North Carolina and President Trump's For America companies to buy for semiconductors this July? So any companies that might fit Timothy's description there, Mark?
Timothy, North Carolina, love it. My mom was from North Carolina. I used to go there every summer as a kid. Love North Carolina. Love almost every part of it, from the ocean to the mountains. And you know what? They do have some quality quartz there. They do have some good things there. The problem is most of the firms that deal with that mine that, are either private or they're just a subset of a bigger corporation that's doing something else, and they're using the quartz for that. So unfortunately, at this point, I don't know of any that we could invest in. If you do, being there, I'm assuming you're there. If you do, let me know, and I will do the analysis on them and see if they meet the biblical, the fundamental, and the technical analysis, the BFT analysis that I do, and if they do, we will present it on air and let people know, and you would be a hero, an investment hero by finding that. But I haven't found any yet. I love your thought though, thematic. Online, looking forward, and I know we're going to need quartz. We're going to need all sorts of minerals and materials that will help us to move forward with onshoring all our technical manufacturing for chips for the future of our nation, giving us stability, giving us strength, and helping us to get rid of being relying on those who may not like us and trying to use it as leverage against us. We have a great God and we have great partners. That's two things we have winning here, Seth, and I just love it.
Amen.
And I love the idea that we get to come back tomorrow and be with everybody again, because we do have great listeners who love the Lord, and they show it in their investing. And even though we joke about having to sell something, we know that it's a wonderful thing that we get to sell it because we get to redeploy it. And it is the froth of his blessings he's given to each and every one of us who love the Lord and show it by the way we invest with biblical integrity. God bless everyone. See you tomorrow.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an FISM production.